This is my favorite terrarium. Now, I planted all of these plants about 3 months ago, so you could say the terrarium is only 3 months old. However, you could also say that this is 3 years old, because that is how long ago I first set up anything inside of this globe. Over the years, this terrarium has evolved many times, but I have to say, the form you're seeing right now is definitely my favorite. One of the reasons for that is that over the years, since my first iteration, I've learned a lot about making and caring for terrariums. In today's video, I'm going to give you guys a tour of this terrarium and the many beautiful plants and amazing creatures that inhabit it. Finally, I'll include a 2-week time lapse showing you guys how this terrarium survived while I was on vacation for 2 weeks with no human intervention. So with that, let's dive right in. This terrarium is huge. It measures 18 inches across and would hold about 13 gallons of water if you're used to thinking about aquariums. Here are 3 things to consider if you're interested in making a giant globe terrarium like this one. First is the container. Now, it can be difficult to find a spherical terrarium or aquarium, and if you do, it's probably going to be pricey. So what I recommend you do instead is to make your search a little bit more generic. For example, searching for 18-inch clear plastic globe will return a lot of results. It might take some effort to find a seller with reasonable shipping, but there are definitely good options out there. I purchased a globe that I have off of eBay for $70, including shipping. Also, pay close attention to the size of the opening in the top. You don't want to find out that it is too small for the hardscape that you have in mind. The opening here is 8 inches, which works well for me. Because the bottom of the globe is round, it won't naturally sit flat. So the second thing you need to consider is a stand. I'm using this plant stand that I got off of Facebook Marketplace. You can see that it has a circular opening, which is actually perfect for this globe. As you can see, it holds it very nicely. Now, plant stands are really easy to find, especially secondhand. I got this one off of Facebook Marketplace, and as you can see, it holds the globe perfectly and also looks really nice. The third thing to consider is lighting. Lighting for a terrarium is so important, not just because it's essential for the plants to grow, but also because it helps to contribute to whatever theme or style you're going for. Different lights, different softnesses, different colors of light, different intensities, all of these can contribute to making your terrarium look really dramatic, really stunning, and really stand out. For a globe terrarium in particular, it is so important to have a light directly on top. You can see that without a light inside, there is a lot of glare and a lot of reflections on the surface of the globe. However, with a light on top, you can see that now everything in the terrarium is crystal clear. For my terrarium, I am using a lamp that is mounted on my wall. I really like this because it allows me to very easily move it out of the way to water or care for my plants. As an alternative to this, you can also use a standing floor lamp or just rest a light on the lid of your terrarium. Now, with those basics out of the way, let's take a look inside the terrarium. As you can see, this terrarium features a lot of amazing plants, including ferns, jewel orchids, begonias, philodendrons, and many, many others. Now, That's a lot of plants to chat about, so rather than doing that, let me just give you two quick highlights. First, rabbit's foot fern. I love this fern because it is easy, small, and versatile. Most ferns will eventually outgrow a terrarium or need to be trimmed, but I've never had this problem with rabbit's foot fern. It's also really versatile, and it can grow as an epiphyte if you want. It always looks good, and it's very hard to kill. The second plant I would like to highlight is my Sinningia Freckles. This is a beautiful little plant. It has been blooming constantly since I got it, which is normal for Sinningias, which is amazing. This is a hybrid, and it is fairly compact, but there are species which stay a good deal smaller, and those are characterized as micro-miniatures. I'm growing a few species of these from seed, along with other gesneriads, so if you're interested in seeing those and how they grow up, make sure to subscribe. Last, but by no means least, this terrarium contains a colony of dwarf white isopods. These guys are elusive, and I don't see them very often. I'm not sure if they're shy or if they're just difficult to see, but for the first 2 months that I had this terrarium, I actually didn't see them at all. I was starting to wonder whether they had survived. Meanwhile, I was going out of town for 2 weeks at this time and decided that I would record a time lapse of my terrarium while I was gone. I was excited to see how it would change and whether it would continue to thrive without my intervention every day. I modified an automatic plant watering device to provide some amount of water, but otherwise I just left it on its own, set up a GoPro, and said goodbye. Within the first day of my time-lapse, it was clear the isopods were alive. You'll see them throughout this time-lapse scurrying around. They seemed especially active around this one patch of moss, and I have no idea why. It was also really surprising to see just how much the plants moved every day. In particular, the Sinningia seems to be quite active. One other thing to note is that although I expected this time-lapse to be totally undisturbed in any way, I was disappointed to find that every morning the camera was violently bumped into a new position. It was pretty obvious when I returned who the culprit was. However, I tried my best to edit things into a mostly seamless video. So with that out of the way, let's watch the finished product. That's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to see all of the cool stuff I have in store for you. Thanks for watching.